Good evening, folks, and welcome to episode 218 of the Sticks in the Six podcast. I'm your host, Andrew Forbes, here with my co-host, Peter Baracchini. And Peter, another week's gone by. Some more ups, some more downs for our Maple Leafs. But we got lots of hockey stuff to talk about tonight. Before we get into all of that, we're closing in the holiday season here. How you doing, my friend?
Doing great, man. Like you said, yeah, we're closing in on the holiday season. I'm just about packed and ready to go. I'm in Christmas vacation mode. So yeah, we're ready for a little bit of R&R and a little bit of time off with some family right now.
When's that train take off this year?
Train takes off in basically a week yesterday. So by this time next week, I'm going to be in Montreal. So yesterday, or basically this Tuesday, that's when I'm scheduled to leave.
There you go. Beautiful, beautiful. Always a good time to spend some good quality time with the family, wherever it may be. Obviously, we'll be circling around London here a little bit and then heading back kind of your way out to Oakville to see my family after Christmas as well, to see everybody there. So it's going to be busy time, but fun time for the kids. And, we get a little bit of rest after that. So, but yeah, as we close into that holiday season, we haven't really talked about what we're going to do, but the Leafs have a lot of work to do as they close in on that upper echelon of the Atlantic Division. Like I said off the top here, we've had some ups and some downs this week. We've seen some good things. We've seen some bad things. And from a fan, some really bad things. And from a fan standpoint, there's certainly been some question marks on, the Boo Birds are out 35 games into the season. And where that goes from here, depending on how the Leafs answer the bell. Before we get into all that, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention this off the top of the show. I want to shout out an EIHL team this week as the Sheffield Steelers terminated contract the contract of former London Knight Cliff Pugh after he admitted in court yesterday that I should clarify, they terminated the contract prior to his appearance in court, but he admitted in court yesterday that he assaulted a woman on two separate occasions dating back to November 17th as well as December 11th, so most recently. It was noted in the Star Sheffield, following Pugh's guilty pleas, the case was adjourned until February 2026 for a sentence. Pugh was released on conditional bail until then. So I saw a comment earlier this week regarding that, and just saying, like, obviously complimenting the team in finally somebody taking the right measure in making sure that there's a shift in this culture, right? We talked about hockey culture on a number of occasions on this podcast, dating back 3 seasons. But one of the things that came off of that as well is, did they know about the first instance? And the hope is there's no concrete evidence that they did or did not know about it at this point. But the hope is that because they saw it happen the second time, they were aware of it the second time, that they did it immediately following the knowledge of that being brought into the front office. So shout out to the EIHL and the Sheffield Steelers for making that move. Again, I don't fully know all of the information that's surrounding it, but it's a culture shift that needs to happen, right? And especially with the London Five, it's insane to think about, but Cliff Pugh was actually on the same team as Alex Formanton, who was part of that London Five. So, I mean, make the connection however you will, but it's good to see some move in the right direction. There's a directional change here, and that's what you want to see from any hockey club that you're cheering for. In saying that, enough with the kind of solemn start to the podcast. The Leafs, I mean, they played last night. So I will say my brother and my dad were at the game last night. My dad's a big Chicago fan, so he was there to see the Blackhawks, obviously. No Bedsy again. This is the second time he's gone to see Chicago play, once in Buffalo.
No Bedsy, that's just bad luck.
Both times Bedsy got injured just prior to the game that he was supposed to go to. So that's obviously kind of a shitty situation there. But the Leafs looked horrendous. The Leafs looked horrendous throughout that game. The Boo Birds came out, and this is all after comments that were previously made by both Craig Berube and Auston Matthews. So I want to touch on those first because that's kind of the lead in to what happened this week.
Go in chronological order.
Yeah, in saying that, they threw up an absolute stinker against the Edmonton Oilers. The Oilers obviously coming off that big trade with Skinner and Jari. Jari gets the start. Looks like a Vezina type goalie in certain situations in that game. Berube comes out and calls out the leadership of the Toronto Maple Leafs. What was your take on his post-game comments?
Surprised he hasn't done it more, considering how many, poor efforts, lack of urgency, lack of mindset that Berube continues to keep mentioning with this team. That this is the one of many few times that he's actually called out his team, especially when it comes to his star players. There are times where he's like, yeah, he needs more from Willie, he needs more from Auston, but this one felt very different. And when you have that much of a pathetic effort, like you did against the Edmonton Oilers, where McDavid's going to be raring to go because Edmonton made a goalie trade. They got a new goalie in Tristan Jarry, so you kind of felt that there's a little bit of slight towards him where he needs to go full on beast mode like he did. Leon Draisaitl went on beast mode. And the fact that they laid an absolute muffin against the Oilers where, you already lost and blew a lead against the San Jose Sharks and you allowed them to come back when you sat back and did nothing. The fact that the Stars were very, very quiet in both those games really said a lot, and Berube had enough. And when you had to keep instilling or use those same words like mindset and urgency, and I mentioned this online on Twitter too, that if you have to keep saying the same thing over and over again, there's a really great chance that the players aren't cluing in. And that to me is a big concern, that 3 months into this season, they have not learned their lesson yet. And I keep saying the same thing over and over again every single year, that they have never learned their lesson to the full extent of what they can do because they keep on making the same mistakes. And that was evident against the San Jose Sharks. Bad neutral zone play, bad play in their own zone. Then the Sharks managed to claw their way back. Same thing happened against the Oilers. 10 times worse in that game. And even so, for 40 minutes, it was the exact same thing against the Chicago Blackhawks. So I don't understand why this team is struggling the way it is. I get their injuries, but let's face it, other teams are going through injuries right now. The fact that you've taken away Mitch Marner, or Mitch Marner is left, it shouldn't be the downfall of this team, because majority of the other team or majority of the roster is still intact. So I'm glad Berube called them out, and I'm glad that, he said that he needs more out of Auston in terms of like their pregame skate heading into the game against Chicago. And Auston Matthews acknowledged that too. He said he needed to be better. And that to me shows that, there is some accountability there from Auston, but at the same time, he needs to show it consistently right now. And that to me, the fact that both of them are kind of into this like spotlight this early on into the season, or this, I don't know, can you say this late into the season? Like, you're almost at the halfway point of the season right now. And when the head coach and the captain come into the fray and there's a little bit of pressure on both sides for both of them, that is even more cause for concern for me compared to his initial comments. And if both of them are coming out and saying these things, maybe they need to hash it out. Maybe they need to get on the same page. I don't know. But to me, it's not the coach's fault, because Berube's done everything that he can. The onus is now on Matthews and everybody else to get it together and, just actually play with a little bit of competency to their game, because they are fully incompetent. And again, the turnover by Nylander at the blue line leading to the shorthanded goal, inexcusable. Again, pathetic, embarrassing. And at that point, 3 games straight, same mistakes over and over again. And it's not ones where they're like, get hit along the board, accidentally turn the puck over where you stand on it, whatever. It's the same ones that have kept killing them all season long. And that is the biggest problem with this team right now.
Yeah, no, I'm glad you brought up the idea of the injuries. I know we've leaned on it a little bit early in the season, but you can only lean on it to a certain point. And
Yeah.
as you mentioned, we're very quickly approaching the midway point of the season. Other teams are going through it. We've seen other teams make moves. We saw the Quinn Hughes deal. Vancouver finally letting go of a guy who had obviously quit on his teammates. He's headed to he heads to Minnesota, has a good debut. You got Zeev Buium going the other way. You got Liam Ogrum going the other way. They had good. So we're seeing movement. We're seeing chemistry shifts on other teams. The
I would like
Leafs.
to say too, both players or all the players involved in that trade have paid dividends for their respective new teams.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. No, it's that deal's a good one both ways. I think long term, Vancouver gets the edge, just because I mean, there's obviously Quinn Hughes' future is unclear, but I mean, I said to a couple guys at work too, like, I'm all for being frustrated in your situation, but the fact that he gave up on that team,
You
and
notice it.
and when you're wearing the C, to give up on your team like that, that to me is questionable character, and to bring that into your room. I mean, there's going to come a point where Minnesota's going to go through a tough bout as well. I mean, look at their division. They got Colorado, they've got Dallas, they got to get through. It's not going to be an easy road for them. So if that's how you react to frustration, I'm not really here for it. But anyways, getting back to the Leafs, there's obviously a chemistry shift on other teams. So you can only lean on the injuries for so long. And in saying that, we've talked about depth scoring for how long. You look at guys like Nylander, okay? Nylander's supposed to be one of your top scorers. 5 points in the last 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 3 points. Sorry, 5 points in the last 9 games, no goals. Okay, only 2 goals over the last 11 games. You've got John Tavares, who yes took a pay cut, but a guy who can clearly still put up 35 to 40 goals. 1 point over the last 6 games, no goals over that span. 1 in his last 10. You talk about a guy like Max Domi, who's supposed to add some flair to your lineup. Hasn't had any fights, hasn't had any big hits. And let's go back. No goals since a 2-goal performance October 28th against Calgary.
Yeah.
Since then, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. 21 games without a goal. Over that span, it looks like, let me do a quick count here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 points over the last 21 games for him. So
all assists, and again,
all assists. And we're not talking primary assists either.
yeah.
Like maybe 2 out of the 9 are primary assists. So you want to talk about depth, you're not getting it. Your best guy, to me, in my opinion, your best guy who's been consistent all season long and you almost lost him has been Oliver Ekman-Larsson.
Oh, absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
And then going off that, your goaltending has salvaged you how many games?
Yeah.
The San Jose game was a game they had to win. They should have won. The game against Edmonton was a good measuring stone for where you are, and it's not looking good.
And that was a battle between two struggling teams, too.
Yeah. Who wanted it more?
Yeah, that was basically the game who wanted it more, and we clearly saw who wanted it more. I'd even go one step further and even say that Matthew Knies, I know probably not as much as OEL, but I would say in terms of being a forward, he's been the most consistent forward all year long.
Yeah, I would argue the same. In saying that, like, I mean, that whole line has struggled, right? And you go back to Matthew Knies, he's got 0 goals in his last 5. He's got 1 in his last 8 games. Only 3 points over that span. So the consistency, the offensive drive has not been there. The want, the need, the desperation. We talk about how many times have we talked about the playoffs, and you need to be desperate. You need to want it.
Lay it all on the
That's
line.
not there 35 games into the season. So
I also wonder too if I think that. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there. Just I didn't want to lose my thought. Yeah, you lost Mitch Marner, but I wonder if a lot of these players are trying to pick up that playmaking aspect that was lost with him and just completely kibosh getting shots and pucks on that.
But that's where Berube's got to come in and say, forget the playmaking. Like,
Yeah.
it'd be different. It'd be a different conversation if you lost a top 5 player in the league.
Mm-hmm.
And if you lost a top 5 player in the league, it'd be a conversation of, yes, we're going to see a shift overall as a team because it's so hard to fill a top 5 player in the league. This is not a shot at Mitch Marner, but he's not a top 5 player in this league.
Yeah.
And we're seeing that in Vegas. He's a second line player in Vegas, and he's going to average a point a game, which is great, but it's not the Mitch Marner that we saw in Toronto when he was playing, when you had 2 of the top 20 players in the league playing together.
And right now, still Matthew Knies and John Tavares have more points than him at this point, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I mean, it's like the whole concept of we miss Mitch Marner. It's got to go out the window. Mm-hmm. It's got to be done because this is no longer a conversation of Mitch Marner's gone and we're doing the best we can. The issue I had with some of the post-game comments recently. So Berube, I'm all for it. I think you need to call out your team. That's your job. Your job's on the line. You need to. That's you showing your desperation as well, right? At the same time, the issue I took was the response by Matthews in saying that, yes, we all need to be better.
Yeah.
Because what Berube was doing was calling out the leadership group as a whole, right? You're wearing the C in that room. You need to, and they haven't made him available for media. I think once over the last 2 games, but regardless, like I think it was after the Edmonton game, he wasn't available for media.
Yeah.
You should be answering the bell after every single game. Even if you weren't wearing the C, you're the star player on this team. And this drives into our next conversation here. He has not been the same since he had 69 goals 2 seasons ago.
Yeah, absolutely not. And little sidetrack, Mitch Marner does have more points than Tavares and Knies, but just barely.
He had a 3-point game the other night, so I mean
that's
whatever.
that. There we go. Yeah, I mean, something is definitely off with Matthews, and they made a lot of great points, especially Mike Johnson, who was like pinpointing off certain aspects of his game. Shot speed is down. Overall speed is down. I mean, he just doesn't seem like the same guy that would, be aggressive and tenacious in wanting the puck on his stick compared to previous years where he did strip the defender of the puck and then he wired it for like a vintage goal, but that's the kind of play that we haven't seen all year from him. And it just kind of feels like he's not even a top 10 player in this league anymore. And that to me is not ideal for a guy that has roughly a better point per or goal per game rate than Alex Ovechkin right now. And this guy was finding the back of the net left, right, and center. And that's an afterthought right now. He's moved out of that picture. Macklin Celebrini's taking over as like one of the top sharpshooters. Same with Connor Bedard. All these younger guys are starting to surpass him right now. Well, McKinnon, McDavid, Draisaitl are arguably 1, 2, 3 in this league, no matter what. And then Pastrnak is still finding the back of the net. Why isn't Matthews, showing that goal scoring ability that he had? And it's like there are times where he's getting the shots that he wants. It's like a millimeter or 2 off where he, catches an edge of something, a crossbar, post, what have you. He has come close many times, but the accuracy, power, and just the overall vision is not there this year. So what is affecting him right now? And I'm glad that, he did answer the call in terms of creating that comeback or tying the game up and even assisting on OEL's goal as well. He was a factor on both goals. That's what you want to see consistently from Auston Matthews. I don't care if he has more assists than goals, but he's got to drive play a little bit more. He's got to be a little bit more open to finding his teammates a little bit more. And I feel like he's doing that just a tad bit more. And even so many times, like he has those open shots that you would see that curl and drag and just absolutely fool goalies and defenders. You're not even seeing that. It's just like these open, they're trying to find him open just so they can get him an easy tap in goal or easy one-timer or a quick shot on net. He's not as deceptive and he's not as skilled as he once was before. And that to me is a bit of a problem right now.
Yeah, it's not even like take away his shot speed and his accuracy, just his demeanor on the ice, the way he's skating.
Yeah.
His skating seems off. He's not as quick. He's not as agile. Like
Pushed off easily.
Yeah, there's more to it than ever before. Like there was a point 2 seasons ago when he scored 69 goals where he was getting involved physically. We were talking about it on a nightly basis.
Yeah.
You have a guy who's can play a 200-foot game, can lay some relatively big hits, block shots, stick check, like everything. He had every little piece, and now it's like even his defense, even his back checking has taken a step back. Like there's more to it than just this, right? And that's what I think people need to understand is that, I mean, this is the crazy part. His career goals per game is 0.63. Okay. He's at 0.51 this season, which means he's averaging a goal every other game, which is still not bad. I mean, that's still you're on pace for 41 goals. Like we're talking like, this is the end of the world.
But pace has slowed down significantly.
Yes, and the guy's got 14 goals this season. Quietly 14 goals this season. I think that the question is, what's changed in his pace that would give him those opportunities? Because I think once you change the pace of play, all of a sudden we're talking about a player who can find the open spots, can do those toe drags that he was doing, those quick releases. The game shifts back in his favor, right? That's the difference. So you change the pace of play, you figure out what's going on with his pace of play. All of a sudden everything starts to file, back into its spot for him. And I think that's what the conversation needs to be.
And even so, like you see the plays that Marner made to him last year where he is all alone in tight, but he would not like lose control because his hand-eye or like puck skills, puck handling has been absolutely phenomenal throughout his career. Too many times we're seeing him bobble a puck on like a simple deke, move inside out, try to fake defenders, and he's losing track of that. Last year, we know Mitch Marner dishes him the puck, but when he was in tight and he had control of that puck, there 9 times out of 10, that puck is still on his stick. This year, that's not the case anymore. So again, I know you said get rid of Mitch Marner, forget that. Like even when someone else is passing him the puck right now, he's not controlling it as well as he used to. And I don't think that that's a Mitch Marner effect or lack of not having Mitch Marner at all, because your puck skills, your handling should not dictate on who is passing you the puck at all.
Go back to his rookie year. He didn't need those passes. He could drive the net.
He was never with Marner in that year.
And that's what I mean. His pace changes everything.
Yeah.
We have a comment here from longtime viewer Gary on YouTube. Just we're going to get to you in just a sec here, Gary. Before we do, just a quick word from our sponsors over at DraftKings Sportsbook. The jaw-dropping moments that make hockey, hockey. Experience them all with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NHL. Missouri listeners, listen up. DraftKings Sportsbook is now live in the Show Me State. New customers, this one's for you. Bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code THPN. That's code THPN to turn $5 into $200 in bonus bets if your bet wins. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly on behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort, Kansas. Pass-through of per-wager tax may apply in Illinois. 21 plus age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Restrictions apply. Bet must win to receive bonus bets which expire in 7 days. Minimum odds required for additional terms and reasonable gaming resources. See dkng.co/audio. Limited time offer. Copyright NHL 2025. All rights reserved. Gary, I bet you never thought that your comments would be sponsored on the podcast, but there you go. You get a DraftKings sponsored comment. Gary says, I believe that the Treliving needs to make a trade of a roster player to shock the system. It needs to be a player that is comfortable in the room, that will make everyone uncomfortable. Domi McMahon. Yeah.
Agreed.
Agreed to a certain extent.
But
the issue right now is they're not functioning as a group. So yes, they need to shake it up. I'm more inclined to trade Domi of the two that you mentioned, because McMahon has found a groove with the guys that he's playing with. He's playing with
Juan Joshua. I feel like
Juan Joshua right now. And Joshua's been on fire outside of being hurt or being sick the other game. But I feel you gotta hold on to McMahon. He's not scoring, but he's adding some offensive production. He's adding offensive time. He's getting into the areas. He's winning the 50-50 battles, which is important. Mm-hmm. That line right now, I wouldn't even touch. That's the most dynamic line in the Leafs lineup over the last 10 games, because they've found a way to work together and work off each other's strengths. So that one I wouldn't touch. Domi's an interesting one, because like we said, he hasn't scored in 21 games. He has 9 points over those 29 games, maybe two or three primary assists. He hasn't fit on a line yet, right? And the issue I'm having with Domi right now is that the things that make him successful are being involved physically, getting into tilts if he needs to. Like, you go back to the game last year where he absolutely smashed Nate Schmidt. Mm-hmm. Went on, absolutely smashed him, obliterated him. Had a fight, went on to score a goal. That's when he's engaged. He has not been there at all this season. He has not been engaged in a single game that I can think back to over the last 33 games where I'm like, this is Domi's game. This is his comeback game. I haven't seen that this year. So would he be a guy I move? Yeah, I mean, possibly, but the idea in making those trades is to get somebody back that's going to add more chemistry and more unification in your room. And right now you need that from your leadership, and that's what they're not getting.
And for me as well, too, I agree with you wholeheartedly about Domi. I'm in a perfect world, yeah, Domi, I would move on. Matias Maccelli, I would move on, despite, his underlying numbers looking really good, but he hasn't been productive. So I feel like they're at their wits' end, and I feel like the Matias Maccelli experiment's basically over. So basically, Maccelli, Domi are basically your top guys that you want to move on from, but what exactly are you going to get in return from them when their value is at its absolute lowest right now? You're not going to get that same player for player or a higher impact, middle six, third liner, fourth liner kind of guy you could probably get it you probably could find a fourth liner for them, but you need some more up further in the lineup right now. Because I feel like even Lawton and Lawrence right now, I feel like they got good chemistry. Now, whether who's going to be in and out on that right wing, that's to be determined right now. But with Domi, his value is so low that what are you probably going to get for him? Maybe you're probably looking at mid-round pick at best. Maccelli, you're probably not going to get a whole lot for him anyways. You're not going to get serviceable impact players right now that can make or have a whole lot of impact if you do move on from them. If you do get a player for player that someone does come in and step in immediately and can elevate the roles that they had, then I'll eat my words. But I'm not seeing that right now.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think right now, I honestly would take a third round pick for Maccelli at this point. I agree with you. I think the experiment's over. Didn't work out. You bite the big one and take a third round pick for him.
But it's especially just so sad because he did have that pace.
Yeah, one of the things the Leafs haven't done this season is keep up with teams. I mean, he did certainly add some speed, but It's just nothing. There was no chemistry built. There's too
Hmm.
much. There's too much blending of the lines with injuries and everything, and he never found that groove. And we
And I
talked
think
about it.
I
We
think he
talked
put a
about it
lot of pressure on himself to get back to where he wanted to go. And when we had Steve Peters on, that was the main thing. Which Michelli were we going to get?
Well, and don't put him in a spot where he's going to put too much pressure on himself early in the season. That
Yeah.
if he fails, all of a sudden now you're working upwards, and I think that's exactly where he is.
Hmm.
Gary says definitely needs to be an established player.
Yeah.
I don't think you have the established player right now that you can move. Like I'd be more inclined to move Simone Benoit,
Yeah.
and bring up like a William Villeneuve for a little bit and see what you can get
Yes.
for Benoit.
I'm glad
Like
you got on the
maybe.
William Villeneuve train, but he's kind of dealing with injury or sickness right now too. So
Yeah, so I mean, the issue right now is just like there's nobody that you can move and get at what the market value should be for those
mhm.
players because the Leafs have been so bad. Like just as a team, they've been so bad. And you're not trading Jake McCabe. That guy's a warrior.
Nope.
You're not trading Morgan Riley. Let's be honest, the
Can't
guy's the
trade Morgan
franchise right now.
Riley.
You can't trade Morgan Riley. You're not moving on from Chris Tanev because God forbid that he's out much longer.
He
He's a guy
did.
that
He did make the road trip. I
I
did see
saw
him
that
get on that team
he
plane.
got on the team plane. He's heading to Washington. Let's
That
keep our
is
fingers crossed.
that is a little bit of good news right there. I will say that.
That would be the greatest gift this holiday season is if Chris
Absolutely.
Tanev comes back healthy and with nothing to worry about. But yeah, there's not a lot of options. So and let's not forget again. I don't want to lean on the injury bug, but like Wall's been out, Stolarz has been out. That was the best two player tandem in the NHL last season in terms of
Yep.
goaltending, and you haven't had it all season long. You haven't had it all season long. You have not had the two players that got you to where you were last year all season long. So I don't like I said I don't want to lean on injuries, but it's definitely something you have to look at. We should recognize too. Like I know I said the thing about Matthews and his comments being, we haven't. We all need to be better, and I kind of poked it back at him and said, well, you need to be better. I want to note, like over the last 6 games, he's got 4 goals and 5 points.
Yeah.
Like he's not playing poorly. He's just the pace has changed for him.
That dog in him isn't there anymore.
The
Or
dog's
hasn't
not there.
been
It
Yeah.
hasn't been there. So
He's been okay.
If he can find that, if he can find the pace, all of a sudden things are going to change for him. I guarantee that he's going to find more openings and everything. So
I just want to
that's
get your take quickly on the whole let me hear you, Sully, because that seems to be a hot topic right now. And at the moment when he finally, delivers and he showed up and he answered Berube's call, even Nylander to an extent too, with the 2 great plays that led to the goals. I just want to get your take on it because I just feel like it's really ridiculous how Maple Leaf fans keep on saying we want to see passion, we want to see emotion. He does the whole like, "Oh, I can't hear you. Like, let me hear you. Come on, let's get it going," kind of thing, right? Trying to get the crowd going, and now all of a sudden everyone's in a pissy mood about it.
Oh, I honestly I haven't seen the follow up from Leafs Nation. I did. You'll see the title wherever it is right here. Matthews versus Berube versus Leafs Nation, and it's kind of mocking the idea of like Leafs Nation was booing this guy. All of a sudden he tells you to get on your feet. Like the "Let me hear you" was not about you guys are booing me. This is like a mockery.
Let's hear it. Yeah.
It's hey, get off your butts. Let's stand up. Let's
That's how
make
I
some
took
noise. Exactly. That's exactly how I took it. Real Leaf fans will take it that way.
Understand. Yes.
The ones that want to criticize and dox Mitch Marner online,
Yeah.
those are the ones that are going to take offense to it, right? But
We don't need that for Matthews, but I will say this: he did that against Tampa Bay one time when
Yeah.
they were down, and you see him do the whole like, "Come
Yeah.
on, let's go." He did that. Not the best example, but he did it against Chicago when him and Patrick Kane were going back and forth, and he did the whole. That was a little bit more of a jab towards the Hawks fans
Yeah.
when he scored, and then Patrick Kane scored right after, and you can see, okay, maybe I got a little carried away there. But when he's looking at the crowd and wants to get them fired up, that is basically him saying, yeah, you wanted passion, I want to see it, and I want to match that too with you guys.
Yeah, no, I personally loved it. I loved, even after you saw him, he said, "Get up, like get up."
Yeah.
I don't think it was a shot at Leafs Nation at all. I think it was honestly him like trying to get them fired up. I'll tell you, like I said, my dad and my brother were at the game. I texted my brother this afternoon. I just said, "Hey, hell of a game to go to," and he wrote back and he said it was the best 5 minutes the Leafs played all night long, and he wasn't wrong. Like, I mean,
No.
when
everyone was doom and gloom. The TSN panel online, yeah. When you go through like 35, 40 minutes of nothing, yeah, you expect the boost to rain.
well, and what a like, it's a way to show everybody that, hey, like when we play, we can play. We can keep up with anybody. We can score goals. We can win those 50-50 battles. Dakota Joshua's goal was a 50-50 battle that he just happened to beat, the Chicago defenseman to, and all of a sudden 8 seconds later they're up 3-2. They finish the game 3-2.
It's just they don't do it consistently enough.
Those are the battles they need to win. And I mean, we should give a shout out to Joe Bowen and his son with the calls as well. Big night for him.
How about him chugging his drink last night, man?
I love it. I love it.
That is Bonesy to a T right there.
A strong Irish boy. Irish boy. Anyways, yeah, I personally love the Sully. I think that's what you want to see out of that guy. And you want to see that passion. You want to see that drive. You want to see that dog in him, right? Yeah, before we get the last couple things here, just a quick word from our other sponsors over at Rakuten. The holidays are here, and that means it's the most wonderful time of the year to save with Rakuten. Use Rakuten to stack cash back at your favorite stores on top of holiday sales. That's savings on savings. With Rakuten, you can get cash back on gifts for everyone on your list, from toys for the kids to kitchen gear for the person who loves to cook to electronics for everyone. You can even save on something for yourself. Just shop the stores you love, and cash back is automatically added to your account, and you can choose to get paid via Interact e-Transfer, PayPal, or check. Join for free today and get a new member bonus after minimum qualifying purchases. Just go to Rakuten.ca, download the app, or install the browser extension. That's RAKUTN. Terms and conditions apply. Some of the stores that are included are Adidas, LG, PetSmart, and Lego. Yeah, so there are some rumors. We talked a little bit about the trades that happened this week. Obviously, the Quinn Hughes deal changes the defenseman or the defensive market, and then the goalies, the goalie swap, Skinner for Jari, which, let's be honest, I don't know how much that's going to help Edmonton in the long run, but that's besides the point. The Quinn Hughes deal does change.
Goalie's going to allow less goals, basically.
Yes, exactly. So the Quinn Hughes deal will certainly change the defensive market. The guy to keep an eye on is obviously Rasmus Andersson. He's been the topic of conversation for a number of years. I was listening to Elliot Friedman on another podcast earlier today saying that, at one point Vegas was interested, even in the offseason after they acquired Mitch Marner. There's a lot of conversation around Vegas trying to go after Rasmus Andersson. The Leafs have been rumored to be interested in Rasmus Andersson since Brad Treliving came into the picture. And certainly he's a guy that would fill in that the Leafs sixth
right shot D-man.
Yeah, like your sixth defenseman would be huge, right? Like you'd have a full team on the back end there. So your thoughts on the possibility of going after him, and what would the Leafs have to give up for something like that?
Well, I've basically written about Rasmus Andersson quite a few times at the Hockey Writers, and most recently in November, I talked about, again, ideal fit, but price may be a little bit too high. So best case scenario would be to go after him in the offseason when he's a free agent. You don't have to give up assets because it's going to be a lot. And I don't think the price tag is going to be as high as it was for Quinn Hughes, because let's face it, Quinn Hughes is a top 2 defender in this league, Norris caliber type player. Maybe half of that, and you could probably try and get rid of some roster players in the process. Maybe they would want a young player in return, like a Danford or a Cowan. maybe a little bit steep considering how Danford is playing really well this season and he's representing Team Canada at the World Juniors. Cowan has looked really good. I know the points haven't come in, but man, we talk about players that have that dog in them. He has that dog. Next thing you're looking at are probably like picks. Do you have other prospects in the system that seem worthwhile to give up? Probably not for Rasmus Andersson. So the big thing is it's not a notion of that you want to get him. It's that what you're giving up is probably not going to be enough. The only other thing that I took note of, and this is really interesting from what Pierre LeBrun said about Rasmus Andersson too, is that this all hangs in the balance of if there's also a sign and trade, kind of like the Mitch Marner thing, where the price could be significantly lower. And if Andersson or the Maple Leafs are the only team that Andersson would be willing to do a sign and trade with, that makes it a whole lot more interesting, and that could play into Brad Treliving's favor a little bit more, considering that the Calgary Flames have not wanted to do business with him in the past, like Nikita Zadorov, like Chris Tanev as well. So that, to me, I think if Andersson wants to sign here long term, that's going to be terrific because let's face it, he has 7 goals, 22 points. He's on pace for his second 50-point season. And I know he hasn't quite been as productive as of late, but like 21, 22, 22, 23 were his 2 best seasons. And he's on pace to match that right now. And again, he's 29. He's getting up there in age. Depending on what he wants, if he's going to command a little bit more than his 4.5, maybe is it worthwhile, But are there other defenders in mind? Because I've seen Dougie Hamilton, his name being thrown out there. And to me, that's just another version of Morgan Riley right there. At least Andersson has a little bit more defensive game to his style where he could play a sound 2-way game. So that to me is the biggest thing right now. I would absolutely love Andersson if it hinges on a sign and trade, and Toronto is basically the only team he would want to go to. That basically Brad Treliving has all the favor in his hands right now.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. He's got a 6-team no trade list right now. That obviously he'll have a little bit of say, so he holds a little bit of the cards. But yeah, he's had to have had a good relationship with Brad Treliving in the past because he did sign that contract at the time. So, which means Brad Treliving's dealt with his agent Claude Lemieux, so that there's that relationship that's already there. Yeah. So familiarity, and you know what you're getting in Rasmus Andersson. So I think the addition would be great. Do I think it's affordable for the Leafs? Not unless you want to empty out your prospect pipeline a little bit more. And right now with the Leafs where they're at, I think you're gonna have a tough time. I wonder how much of it is, you let him go to free agency if he doesn't sign somewhere and see if you can talk him into coming through free agency. But even then, like, the idea right now is that the Leafs have to start getting everybody to buy in, lower dollar amount, build around your franchise players, and start to open that window again for a possible cup run. Right now, it's not where it needs to be, and that could change. That could very quickly change, but we gotta see some changes happen quick rather than go after another guy who's commanding top dollar in his position. So it'll be interesting to see. Patrick, welcome back, man. It's been a while.
Yeah,
Need to win Thursday. Yes, they do. Yeah. They need to win every day. My friend. The Leafs need a forward more than defense, I believe. Tanev and Carlos still there. Yeah, to an extent, right? We don't know. Carlos' timeline's a little bit more
known,
concrete. Yeah. Tanev right now, like, it's so many question marks, and there was that comparison to Jake Muzzin just over a week ago, which is a scary comparison considering how what road he took into retirement. So they certainly do have 2 major pieces. We mentioned earlier in the season, Carlos' hits were down from his lowest 3.3 per 60 minutes to this season 1.65. So something was obviously up with him as well, not getting engaged physically. So if he can be that defenseman that he was in Boston when he comes back, obviously then you're 100% right. We don't need a defenseman. I think we're in good shape. But yeah, again, a middle six forward's going to cost you a lot. It's like a Maple Leafs premium that you have to put out there on the market to try and get somebody off of another club. So yeah, it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting. You think a top six? I'm willing to trade a goalie, Stolarz, or Wall for a top six forward. You can't trade Stolarz right now. You're not going to trade Stolarz right now. There's again,
you do have to go down that road at some point where you need to trade a goalie prospect, because now with the way Hildeby's playing,
yeah,
Wall is looking really good. Is that going to be your tandem after, you still have no uncertainty with Stolarz? And if you do get a top six forward, the only one that I've kind of seen that's been rumored is Mason Marchment as well. But Marchment's kind of had a down season and is not the same player that he was with Dallas too. So he only has 13 points in 28 games, and you need a little bit more offensive consistency. And that is one thing that the Leafs don't have right now. So you got to shoot big if you're trading one of a Stolarz if and when he's healthy, Hildeby or Wall.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
so
I
you
agree.
really have to think big at that point. That, I think, is the only way you could probably get a good return. If you don't have a forward or defensive prospect, you got to look at your goaltending depth, because at some point that's going to happen.
Patrick says he wants to go big. He says Hildeby's too good for the AHL. I agree. I agree. You need to, if you want playoffs this year, you got to go big. If you want to run in the playoffs, you got to go even bigger. They're just not there right now. We'll see what the next week or so brings, Patrick. But it's definitely a conversation I think we're going to be having week to week on as we head up to the deadline and see what happens. Before the trade freeze with obviously World Juniors kickoff next week. They win Thursday and Saturday. They should think like that. Keep the 2028 first Cowan and Danford and sell a goalie. I think they keep Cowan and Danford regardless. I think you have to. It's a shame because this year's draft is going to be one of the better drafts in the last decade. In my personal opinion. So it's a shame.
We're top 5 protected this year.
Yeah.
So if we don't get
there's
that
a reason.
Pick,
there's a reason why they did it. There's a reason why they did it, right?
You need that blue chip.
Yeah. They just don't have it right now. Mm-hmm. Anyways, we kind of touched on Stolarz, so I don't want to get too deep into it because there's so many unknowns. I don't want to sit here and play a guessing game of what's going on with Anthony Stolarz. The fact is, it's worrisome. It's good to have Joseph Wall back. It's good to see that Hildeby is playing the way that he played outside of his game in Edmonton. Mm-hmm. But it's definitely frightening to think that you just signed this guy and he's potentially dealing with an injury that he's already dealt with in the past. Don't forget, Anthony Stolarz at one point thought his career was over because of injury.
Yeah.
And that's the part that I think everybody is starting to worry about.
And Berube has come out and said that he's not making the progress that they wanted him to. And
he's getting another opinion.
Another opinion, yeah. But at the same time, if it's not, and they've already said that it's not season ending, but it's also not concussion related. So what exactly is it? And again, that it was ever since that game in Boston, I'm trying to figure out what it is. Is it something with a leg? Is it something with his hip? Is it something with his upper body? But if it kind of, again, we don't want to speculate. We don't want to dive into that because we're not doctors. It's just, again, like you said, it is worrisome. It is a concern right now because this is a guy that you had a lot of hope for.
Yeah, right now, I feel like the team doctors are playing a game of head and shoulders, knees and toes with Anthony Stolarz, wondering what's going on.
What's going on? Yeah,
what can we do to progress in the right direction? It's just, it's not good. Mm-hmm. Anyways, we'll leave it at that. I know we're doing a little bit late. We got the prelim game on for the World Juniors.
It's that time of the year.
It's that time of the year. The Penguins just got sold for $1.7 billion. According to Elliot Friedman, to the Hoffmans, a Chicago-based company from Fenway Sports and Entertainment. So big sale. The Penguins, $1.7 billion. That's a lot of dough.
Penguins are making moves all over the place
They
right
are
now.
making moves. They got Skinner, and that just upped their price to $1.7 billion.
There we go.
And then I mean, like we talked a little bit about Cliff Poo off the top of the show. Two other guys going through it right now are Ryan Kessler and Willie Mitchell. I'm going to leave those to you if you want to look those up. You know, do your research, get your facts.
Yeah.
Just some terrible stuff coming out of the hockey culture side of things.
Yeah.
So, anyways, I don't want to get into that. We're getting into the holiday season. We're getting close to it. I don't know if we're going to have episode 219 next week. Obviously, you're traveling.
Yeah.
We got things going. Middle of the week is Christmas Eve. So I might
We
just
could
do
write
like
that off. Yeah.
yeah. I've got, like I said, I've got the Gavin Bryant interview in the bag, so we can maybe post that as like an episode. So we'll talk about it. We'll see what's up. If you guys want the Gavin Bryant episode, shoot me a DM or fire me a message on YouTube or what have you, and we'll get that going for Christmas Eve. Give you a show for something to listen to.
Yes, sir.
Outside of that, anything you got for our listeners there, Peter?
Just want to wish you all happy holidays. Spend it with your families. Have a good time. Yep. Merry Christmas. Go Leafs go. Happy holidays. All the best to all the listeners out there that have tuned in for another great season in 2026, man. Let's bring it on.
Merry Christmas to all the Leaf fans, as our longtime listener Patrick shares with us. Absolutely, it's been a ride, like we've talked about. We do this little sappy stuff at the end of every year, but we're in season 6 of this show, and never could have imagined we'd get this far.
Yeah.
We're jumping into 2026 feet first. We got hopefully some big things coming in the next calendar year, and we're going to talk a lot more Leafs. We're going to try and get more guys on the show, more people, more Leaf related content on the show over the next year, and we're just going to keep this thing growing. And we wouldn't be here without the help of you guys who tune in. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel because it's huge for us. The Hockey Podcast Network has been amazing to us. DraftKings, SeatGeek. Make sure you check out SeatGeek if you're looking for a last-minute gift. Use our promo code. Get $20 off your first purchase. Of course, Rakuten and BioSteel for 20% off BioSteel as well, which is huge. Huge if you get 20% off BioSteel. All your orders, not just your first, all your orders. So keep ordering from BioSteel. Anyways, it's been a hell of a year. If we don't get to you next week, Merry Christmas to everybody. Leafs are going big. Let's go Canada. Michael Meese is on his way from San Jose and the Barracuda.
Official. Yeah.
Officially official. He's going to be playing for Canada, and I couldn't be more pumped. We got it's the Christmas time of year for hockey fans, and us north of the border. It means World Juniors, and we can't be more excited to get back in that medal race. So, with that said, we're gonna close it out here with a little bit from our friend, who's killing it himself with another single release, but this was his first 25 from our former co-host and our close friend, Alex Hobson. Merry Christmas, everybody.